And then look at this down here. China is happy, right? I think this conversation is foilable. Bring it back to me. There we go. It is foilable. There's been a lot of news the last few weeks, because a lot of it's happened since I've been here. I'm not going to go back and go over the details with some of it right now. But I would submit one of the most important revelations in the last 2 weeks you didn't know about. Because the media is what the media is. Judicial Watch uncovered that the Biden administration was concerned about Chinese influence being expanded and vindicated by Tim Walz's being selected as vice president in the nomination during the 2024 election. The Biden Homeland Security Department, the Biden FBI was investigating Walz's connections to China, seemingly knew about them, and that material was released to us by Secretary Noem's Department of Homeland Security. That was as important a revelation, an astonishing revelation, as anything else you've heard about recently. And it wasn't from several years ago, it was just last year. Now, we had sued for these records back in March. We asked for all documents and communications in the DHS Microsoft Teams group chat referring or relating to Minnesota Governor Timothy Walz, all intelligence information reports and regional intelligence notes referring to Walz, and other documents about him. It's because we knew that Walz was likely the subject of China investigations. I think we knew. Let me go back to the lawsuit, because I'm sure we had reason to ask for the records. Let's see, what was the basis? Oh yeah, on October 29th, 2024, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer said a Homeland Security whistleblower told the committee that Walz was a target of the Chinese Communist Party as someone they can get to D.C. The whistleblower also disclosed that officials from the Department of Homeland Security Office Intelligence and Analysis and Homeland Security investigations have been involved in the department's investigative or intelligence work connected with the CCP, the state of Minnesota, and Governor Walz. Now, Walz has been to China multiple times. He's a big fan of the Chinese people personally, which is fine. But obviously his connections to the Chinese government and his going back and forth certainly would raise on its face national security issues, given the fact he's a high-ranking government official and almost became, well, maybe not almost, given how big a loss they had, certainly was about to be a heartbeat away from the presidency if Kamala Harris had managed to win. So quite simply, there was a cover-up about that during the Biden campaign, during the Biden administration. And the Trump administration, through Kristi Noem, released the information. And it's astonishing. Look at the headline from our release here. Judicial Watch, China is happy. Emails reveal Biden, DHS, and FBI investigations of Tim Walz and Communist China. Pretty incredible stuff. So let's go do a little deep dive into this, shall we? Because you're not going to find it anywhere else. An email dated August 6, 2024, the day Walz was officially named the Democrat vice presidential nominee, shows Homeland Security personnel discussing how they were aware Communist China had a plan to target the politicians likely to end up in D.C., specifically Walz and Nevada Governor Joe Lombardo. A Homeland Security official states, Walz got the VP. You have no idea how this feeds into what the PRC, the People's Republic of China, has been doing here with him and local gov. It is seriously a line of the intel. Target someone who is perceived they can get to D.C. China is happy. Another official responds, this speaks too long to the raw, this speaks to the RIN, the raw intelligence you reviewed for us. So they had raw intelligence tying Walz to the Chinese, or certainly Chinese interests to Walz's success. Now compare and contrast with the histrionics, excuse me, that we've learned further about in the last few weeks, where they made up information about Russia being supportive of President Trump winning. On the contrary, they had literally raw intelligence and significant intelligence within the Biden administration that the Chinese were ecstatic about Walz's elevation to the vice presidential nomination. A participant added in the documents, because this is a back and forth, the perception narrative that has been pushed with one of the local NGOs had direct ties to the former government here in Nevada. FBI is lead on a couple of things. The only issue is being in the Ninth Circuit. So it's a little bit unclear there, but it shows that the FBI was investigating related issues in Nevada. Good to know, and yes, there is involvement with Homeland Security investigations and FBI on things here. If anyone has any interest, I can provide you context in a classified setting. But this has more, someone else says, but this has more of a strategic impact than obviously the general public knows. A participant in the August 2024 group chat with a redacted name states, China is happy. China is happy, referencing Walz's nomination. Pretty incredible. Did you read about it in the New York Times, the Washington Post, on CNN, anywhere? I think our friends at Just the News covered it. I think that's about it. Maybe some other places covered it. But you had intelligence investigations confirming Chinese interest in seeing Walz win, happiness that he was even nominated to be vice president. And it's been crickets here in Washington, D.C. And there was evidence that it had been disclosed. There had been evidence that it had happened, right, that there was these investigations and concerns. And it took Judicial Watch to come in and uncover the material. Let's see what else is here. These documents uncovered by Judicial Watch show that the Biden administration covered up intelligence concerns about Tim Walz's connections to China. This is a major scandal. Don't you agree? I mean, Walz is still a major political figure. He's out there promoting himself, which is what politicians do. I don't blame him for doing that. He probably wants to run for president. But he's in China's back pocket, it looks like. This is what or China thinks he's in their back pocket. I don't know. To be fair to him, he may not understand how much he's been compromised. But the Chinese consider him to be an asset, it looks like, based on these documents. And per usual, they're all on the internet. And I'll show you what they look like. I kind of read through them. I guess I should have called them up. It's 47 pages, so they're pretty accessible to you. Let me bring it up. See that? Walt's got the VP. You have no idea how this feeds into what PRC has been doing here with him in local gov. It's seriously a line of the intel. Target someone who is perceived they can get to DC. This speaks too to the raw intelligence she reviewed for us. Now look at this bottom one. But this has more of a strategic impact than obviously the general public knows. There's a story they were tracking about Chinese reaction to him being elected or selected. Right? So our government was tracking, this is a government document, they were tracking Chinese reactions to Walz being offered the nomination for vice president. Here, look. BBC, this is a government file. So they thought it was interesting. Some more text messages. Oh, this is the kicker. China is happy with a link to that BBC story. That was the conclusion they drew. Look at this. With FBI mission in the counterintelligence field, I believe they need to get included too. And then look at this down here. China's happy, right? I think this conversation is foilable. Bring it back to me. There we go. It is foilable. And credit to NOAAM's Department of Homeland Security for releasing this. This is pretty extraordinary material to get out of the agency. So this was a specific decision to put this material out. Typically, we would never have seen it. I mean, based on my nearly 30 years experience at Judicial Watch, we would never have seen these records. Even if they had been disclosed in redacted form to us, we would never have been able to get behind them. And this shows you why it's important to have a commitment to transparency by the president and his appointees. It's the only way to cut through the bureaucratic and self-interested protection rackets in the deep state that keep material like this out of the public domain in order to protect leftists and Democrats. So I'm hoping Comer does a follow-up on this. Maybe I should send this material over to him. I don't know if he knows we have it. Note to self, follow up with Congress, right? That's kind of what we do here at Judicial Watch. We get material and then we think, what else can we do to kind of get the public educated about this? Sometimes we share it with Congress, sometimes we share it with the media, and of course, always we share it with you. That's never really the question. The question is what else we can do to get it out. And I encourage you, if you're watching, you're all on the internet, right? You have social media accounts. Share this material. Go to the link below and share it. This is a big story. Kamala Harris's number 2 was compromised by China. Not according to Judicial Watch, not according to Donald Trump, but according to the Department of Homeland Security under Joe Biden. What's his name? Alejandro Mayorkas is Homeland Security. The same group that let in the millions of illegal alien invaders. Well, they were tracking Chinese interest in Mr. Walz, Governor Walz, being elevated to vice presidential candidate by Kamala Harris. So just tremendous work, again, by Judicial Watch. Kudos to the Trump administration for releasing this information. This is about as important material as you'll ever see out of Judicial Watch. Now, we have comparable material that comes out more often than quite unbelievably, but this is pretty serious stuff. And so I encourage you to pay more attention to it and follow up and demand more accountability, because if he continues to be a threat, that's something the public needs to know about. A national security threat. Boy, oh boy. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.